All right, what's good? What's good? What's good? Welcome to another episode of My Friends Are Dope. I'm your host, Yaw Geez. Do me a favor, hit the like and subscribe button so we can get this dope content to more dope people like yourself. Got another very special guest here with me today. This guy's a broadcaster extraordinaire. Met him a long time ago in the mean streets of Bristol, Connecticut. He's now doing work with a lot of networks. I believe he's been with ESPN in the past, and he's done Fox Sports as well. And he's all over the place, man. And he's ventured into the comedy space as well. So I want to introduce you guys to my good friend, Mr. Mike Hill. Mike
Yaw Geez, my guy, the most talented man I've ever worked with, and has not been in front of the camera in ever, bro. Seriously. I'm happy to see you doing this in front of the camera, bro. Getting your shine.
I appreciate it, man. How you been, man?
Ben, I'm incredible, man. I'm blessed, highly favored, brother. You know what I'm saying? That's what the old people say. Blessed and highly favored.
I mean, that's all you can be these days. We're all so crazy. I just want to make sure that you are in favor, as they say. So you know what I mean. So
I'm making enough money to be able to afford to fill up my tank with gas these days.
I know you're in LA. I just saw a picture today that gas is somewhere around like $5.50 a gallon. Is that correct, or was that AI?
Gas, no, that ain't AI. I wish it was AI. Gas prices higher than most people's credit scores out here, bro. It's crazy, man.
That's crazy.
That's a damn shame, man. But yeah, we out here making it, man. That's why you got a lot of electric cars out here. My girl left her she's in Canada. She left her electric car. I'm like, I'm using the hell out of that.
Bro, so it's funny. We bought one in September. And it's probably, I would say this, electric cars are probably more suited for a place like the West Coast because, there's not a huge change in weather. When it gets cold, that battery drains so crazy. And I find myself at the charging station way more often in the winter than I do in the spring. But luckily, the weather's warmed up a little bit, so we don't have to worry about that too much. But yeah, man, glad to have you on. Thanks for joining me.
Absolutely.
I like to start these things off normally with how we met, and I believe we met on the basketball court either at St. Paul's or the ESPN or the Y somewhere in Southington, Connecticut, playing ball. I remember I had known you I just couldn't put my finger on where I knew you from, and I realized that you had been on MSG. I watched you as a kid on MSG with Bill Pito and a couple other guys when you were doing Knicks coverage and all types of stuff. I think you were doing some Fox Sports stuff in New York as well back then. We linked up. Mike has always been a very great supporter of mine when it comes to my music and all my ventures. So we have been chatting up. We've been good friends ever since then. Really been able to talk sports, been able to talk life. I get advice from this man. He's a legend in the TV street. So, like I said, just happy to have you on, man. So
I'm happy to be here, man.
I'm happy
to be here. I'm so proud of you, bro. I really am. And like I said, anything you're doing, I'm definitely gonna be a part of. Want to be a part of, man. It was great. And you I was born in New York. You're a New York guy too, man. So I'm like, I love that. We got the love for the Knicks and all those teams, man. So we just had a lot in common. We just kind of clicked, man. And you're doing your thing, man. Keep on doing it, brother.
I appreciate you. So I always say this because you've actually been through the gamut of, you've been in New York, you've been in LA, you've been in Atlanta, you've been a bunch of places working TV. You started in small markets. Where did your love for TV and broadcasting start?
That's a good question. I think when I was a kid, I always watched television growing up as a kid, man. So I just always knew I kind of wanted to be in the entertainment industry. I didn't know about journalism until actually was in Birmingham, Alabama, moved from New York, went to Birmingham, Alabama. And there was this guy on Channel 6 News, and his name was Michael Hill.
Okay. The irony.
Black dude, ironically, he had the same name. He was black. He looked just like me, a light-skinned dude and everything like that. And he was on the news. And I'm like, damn, okay, that seems like a ways to a means, man, because I always want to be an actor, entertainer, whatever. And what's crazy about the ironic thing about that is I ended up marrying his niece. I didn't even know Michael Hill. I ended up marrying his niece. That was my first wife, Tamara Hill, man. So shout out to Tamara, and you're still good friends today. We got a daughter together and all that stuff like that. So that's how I kind of like got into journalism, because after I met her, I knew I was on the school newspaper and everything like that. And I went into the military, and I said, I kind of want to be on television. I want to do that. So he talked to me. He said I could do it. And you got to understand, man, you're growing up in certain communities, man. You don't see people like you or whatever. Right. You don't see people coming out of the hood that's doing things. So there's a lot of discouragement, feeling like, you got to be able to talk a certain way, which I had to learn how to talk. But that's where my love began, man. And I always just been like a big natural sports lover, man, with the Knicks and Giants and the Yankees and all those people. So that was just kind of my way of kind of getting into doing sports instead of news, man.
Right. What is it like being like? I think being a black face on television now is far different than it was back in the day.
Yeah.
What is the difference now, and how have you kind of like been able to expound on that and be able to like be like kind of a point person for the younger generation?
It's a lot different now, man, because there's a lot more representation of us being on television, a lot more representation of women and different ethnicity groups, ethnic groups being on television. But yeah, back in the day, man, it was a little bit different, man. Like I told you, I tell the story all the time, and I'm no disrespect to ESPN, but even when I got to ESPN in 1990, no, was it 94? Yeah, 94. Damn, it's been that long. 94? No, 2004. 2004. When I was at ESPN in 2004. I got there at first years, and I went to a talent executive, and the talent executive told me that I was not moving up in the ranks because I was too ghetto, right? So I was even experiencing that back in 2004, and they said we already have somebody like that, and that was Stuart Scott.
Right.
So there are still things where people still didn't understand our culture and understand that people, even if you have more than one black person, a black person can still sound black on the air. So I had to fight through all those things, man. It was a lot, man, but I wouldn't change it for anything. You know what I mean? I had my ups and downs in my career being a black person in this industry. I actually got fired in Dallas before I went to ESPN because the guy there told me, like, do you want to be a sportscaster? You want to be a black sportscaster? And I'm like, I want to be a sportscaster who happens to be black. Right. So all those things. And then hearing things, even in Fresno, people saying that you're going to move up, you're going to go to a top 10 market, you'll be working at a network because you're black. They felt like because of my skin color, that's the only way that I'm going to get up because, there was an influx of us coming in or whatever. So it was a little bit different. So I'm glad I was able to open the door for a lot of people, man. And I know my skill set was able to maintain that because even if you're black and you're getting somebody giving you an opportunity, you still got to be able to keep that opportunity. And I'm 32 years in, man, and I'm happy to still be here, still going strong.
No question. I mean, I've always seen you, and your presence at NABJ conferences is always strong. And I always see you talking to the young folks. And obviously, there's always a lot of people at those conferences who are trying to be on air. And it's always just good to kind of see you give those guys some insight as far as what it's like now, how they can kind of improve themselves in the industry because. As we know right now, it's a very fickle industry as it is. People getting let go all the time, and everybody's got their own thing. So it's just really good to see you and the way you've kind of operated in this space, man. Really proud of what you've done, definitely. Wanted to ask you about just kind of like your sporting events you've done. You've worked at Fox. You did a little bit of First Take on ESPN. What has been your ideal position? What have you loved the most, and what is the ideal sporting event that you would love to cover in the future?
Well, my ideal position, man, I love hosting. Like even when I was at ESPN, I didn't care too much for being a sports center anchor. Like everybody there was going there and wanted to be a sports center anchor. I wanted to be a host. I wanted to host the specialty shows like the NFL Live, NBA Today, and I was able to host all these other shows like First Take, as you mentioned, or whatever, being on the debate. So I kind of wanted to be in that mindset, and I still want to do that today, and I still like doing that today. As far as hold on a second, got it. Kill this echo. As far as the shows or the events that I want to cover, man, I think I've covered just about everything. I've done World Series, I've done the Super Bowl, I've done NBA Finals. I've never done Wimbledon. Somebody asked me about the Masters the other day, and I've never gone to the Masters. And I'm getting into golf a little bit more, so I think that's one of the things that even if I don't cover it, I just want to be there and be able to experience, being at that event and just be able to take it in as a fan. Right.
How long have you been playing golf? Because I've been trying to get into. My wife here bought me golf lessons early last year. I haven't really, I haven't cashed in my coupon yet, but I need to go in. So, what's golf? What's your golf game like? I know my dad plays a lot, and he's gotten really good. And I'm trying to get into it because obviously I can't play ball like I used to, obviously, and getting out there. So, what's your golf game like? How has that changed you?
The golf game is coming along when I play consistently. I've been playing since 1997, right? So I've been picking up clubs here and there.
Right.
And, I played a lot when I was in Connecticut because there wasn't nothing else to do, to be honest with you. But
we know Connecticut.
Right.
We know Connecticut.
Right. But then, you only can play during the summer months because in the winter, everything's with snow on the ground, man. But so I've been on and off, and I'm playing a little bit more consistently now. And there are good days and there are bad days, just like anything else, man. It's a very tough sport. I would tell people who play golf, if you like a challenge, pick up golf.
Right.
if you want to know about people that you're around, from your friends to business people, whatever, go play golf with somebody, because it's so telling. Their personalities, their characteristics come out or whatever. That's why a lot of golf deals get done. I mean, a lot of business deals get done on the golf course,
Right.
because you can tell what kind of character people have,
Right.
man. So right now, I would say my handicap is still a wheelchair.
Okay.
Like, I'm still rolling along. But it's coming down. Like, so sometimes I break 100 a lot now.
Okay.
So I've done that, and then sometimes I'll dip around 90 or whatever. So I still need a lot of work, man. But it's still just so much fun. It's challenging. And the great thing about it is it keeps you coming back, because you could play for 18 holes, and the first 12 holes you could suck.
Right.
And then the last 6 holes you just start killing, and you think you're Tiger Woods, and that'll make you come back.
Right.
Or vice versa. So, man, it's just something I enjoy doing. It's real peaceful, man. And like you said, I can't play basketball anymore, or all the other sports. So it's a way for me to get out there and enjoy the sunshine.
Indeed. Do you have a coach?
I don't have a coach. And here's the thing about coaching. Like, sometimes when you've been doing something for so long, you get into these habits, man. I just want to do it for fun. I know I'm not going to be on the PGA Tour. I ain't going to be on the damn Hooters Tour.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I just want to go out there and play golf, man.
Right.
When you start getting the coach and they start messing with your swings, your mechanics, it's almost like playing basketball. If all of a sudden you've been playing ball all your life, and you got a shot, you got a jump shot, and then all of a sudden they mess with your shot in your form or whatever.
Right.
It starts getting into your head for a while, man. So you start overthinking, and it's not fun anymore. But there are certain things, certain lessons that I would like to take to help me out. I just don't want people messing it up and take the fun out of it.
Indeed. Okay. Understood. Understood. Okay. We talked about this earlier, where you said, people, you were criticized for being too ghetto per se. And in this industry, sometimes a lot of people, I do want to expand on the fact that people do try to dim your light a little bit and try to make you not be yourself. What do you say to people who are always trying to like maneuver and assimilate to what other people are trying to do or trying to make you into?
That's a good question, and I think it's up to the individual how they maneuver through those situations. Because obviously, I'm gonna tell you about me. When I was there, I had just got let go in Dallas.
Right.
So my job, after being let go in Dallas, you get fired, and then you get the ESPN, and they telling you got to be a certain way.
Right.
You don't want to get fired back to back, right? So it's like you start to assimilate, because it's like, man, I need to keep my job, so I'm gonna do whatever you say, boss.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You want me to talk a certain way? I do. So you start kind of moving that way. But what I will say, man, is eventually I snapped out of that, and I'm like, you know what? I gotta be me, because I'm miserable not being me.
Right.
When you start to lose yourself, you look at yourself and you wonder, who the hell are you? Why are you doing this? Right. So I lost myself when I was at ESPN. So what I tell people these days, man, is like, there is nobody on this earth who has your DNA. Not one person. You have to find your voice. Once you find your voice, stick with it. There are going to be people who like it. There are going to be people who love it. There are going to be people who hate it. There is not one broadcaster on the face of this earth. You can go from Bob Costas to Jim Brown, James Brown to Stuart Scott, everybody. No one's going to be universally loved in this business at all, being a sportscaster especially.
Right.
So find your tribe, find your voice, and stick with it no matter what, and just kind of ride with it. Now, you can adjust certain things here and there, obviously, depending on the audience you're talking to. And I know, like, if I'm talking to a golf audience, I got to be a little bit different than when I'm talking to an NBA audience. Right. I understand that, but that's being smart. But when it comes to your soul, when it comes to your DNA, when it comes to your culture, when it comes to what's inside of you, be you and allow that to expound.
Also, just belief in yourself is something that I've always, I'm not always, but as years go on, that really is the thing that kind of like propels you to kind of greatness and success, honestly. Because if you don't believe in yourself at first, then nobody is there going to believe in you anyway. So
I read that it's crazy. That's one of the first quotes I saw. I remember being in school, and it sticks with me. It's like, who can you expect to believe in you if you don't believe in you?
Right. You
can't. I mean, like, if you don't believe in yourself, then why am I gonna have confidence in you? You don't have confidence in yourself, man. So believe in yourself, and that's why, like I said, 32 years in this game, man, and I feel like I'm aging backwards. I still feel like I got another 20 left, I feel like. And I appreciate everybody giving me love and showing me love, and I'm not trying to be cocky or anything like that, but I still feel like I'm one of the best in the game.
Right.
And so I believe in me. Anything you put in front of me, I feel like whatever the challenge is, I'm going to be able to take that challenge on, and I'm going to be able to excel, especially if you have the right teammates around.
Indeed. Well, okay. So I wanted to get into me being a girl dad. You are as well. You're raising 2 daughters. you raised beautiful daughters, and now a little older now. I think they're in their 20s, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So
still on the payroll though, but
I mean, they're on. I mean, mine is 3. She on my payroll, so I get it. I totally get it.
I'll be there for a while.
Right. They always say it never ends either. To the day you perish, they're gonna be on payroll. So.
I don't want
Right.
to. Yeah.
Right. So raising 2 daughters, what has fatherhood? What have you learned about yourself through fatherhood and being a father?
Great question. I had to learn that for me, fatherhood allowed me to grow up because I didn't know how to be a father. People look at me today and they say, you're a great dad and you got these wonderful children. Your children love you. It hasn't always been like that, man. You got to understand they were the product of a divorce. And so sometimes when you're out of the home, sometimes that separation can have an effect on you. And I'm just being real and very transparent right now. So I had to learn how to be a father because nobody taught me how to be a dad.
Right.
Because my dad, my biological and my stepdad were never around, or they weren't great role models, right? And not to shit on them or anything like that, but that's just the truth.
Right.
And so I had to learn on the fly. So my whole mindset was, as long as they have everything they need monetarily and from a standpoint of gifts and things like that, and from the outside world, and they have everything that they want, I'm good. But what they really need is my time. And once I decided and I realized that, hey man, my time and my heart and my devotion to them is more valuable than anything in the world, then that's when we came together. And like, we're best friends now, man. We take trips together, we do everything together, we talk at least once a week on a 3-way. So what it's taught me, man, is just how to be a man, how to grow up. I had to grow up because for the longest time, y'all, and I tell men, especially black men, you're a boy until you learn how to become a man.
Right.
I don't care if you're 21 with a penis between your legs, you're not a man until you have the maturity and the mindset of being a man, right? So once I realized that and started doing it right by them and understanding what it takes to be a real father, it taught me how to be a man.
Yeah. One of the things I remember you telling me when I told you my wife was pregnant, the first thing you told me, you said, "Hey, make sure you spend as much time with that baby as possible." You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Because you don't. It goes by so fast in a blink. Like I said, in a blink of an eye, you told me it's gonna go by fast. She's 3 already. You know what I mean? And like, I'm thankful that I've taken a lot of advice, particularly yours and other friends and other my OGs that you have kind of guided me through this early process of fatherhood. They've told me, hey, make sure you're spending time, make sure you're doing all the little things because they grow up and remember those things. And I don't want to be that guy that oh, my father was here, but he wasn't really here. You know what I mean? I don't want to be that guy. I want to be a prevalent piece of my daughter's life. Make sure that she's going forward. Everybody knows that I was in her life, and I thank you guys for giving me that info and giving me that intel, and it's been beneficial. I think it's helped in my household, helped in the marriage, and everything. So it's really good.
Your presence is the first present
Right.
that your daughter is going to receive, and you also got to understand you're the first male figure that she has in her life. So as she gets older, she's going to look and see what a man is supposed to be like, and you're teaching her what a man is supposed to be like, how a man's supposed to treat her, right? So you have to treat her like she's already the queen that she's going to become. She is your princess, right? So if you're treating her a certain way, you expect anybody that's in her life in a romantic role to be able to carry the torch that you've already lit. So what kind of torch have you lit? And how can you denigrate or be mad at somebody else if you didn't treat your daughter the way she needed to be treated or raise her the way to expect how to be treated like a queen or a princess, man?
Got to set the standard from early is what you guys always told me, definitely. So I've known you since your sports days, but a lot of people who actually found out about you, particularly my wife, when you were on a reality TV show called Real Housewives of Atlanta. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I want to know, you had a very publicized marriage on that show, and I just want to know, what is it like being on a reality show? I'm sure there was some benefit from notoriety, but there also had to be some ups and downs that comes with that as well. So I'm sure you ended up on the shade room a couple of times when you have a publicized marriage like that. So what has that experience been like, and how have you been able to kind of pivot out of that? Not to say out of it, but kind of pivot into another lane after that reality show. Because Real Housewives is a pretty popular reality show, and it's been on for like 20 years. So,
right. So I've talked about this before, but I've never been really honest about a lot of stuff, man. I'm just kind of hidden the stuff because it's just like, but you're my boy, right? So I'm I want to be very transparent, man. Like you said, there are benefits of being on a show like that because of the exposure factor. Obviously, your Twitter followers, your Instagram followers
Right.
go up a little bit, whatnot. But what kind of followers are you getting? And I will say this, and I've never said this before, that although obviously my love for Cynthia was real and we're still good friends, still cool now, everything was on the up and up, I really wish I never would have been a part of that show. I really wish I never would have been a part of it because it has been afterwards has been an absolute nightmare. And
Oh wow.
the the mischaracterization and the misperception of who I am has been dragged through the mud. And even 4 years after our divorce,
Right.
you're still feeling the residue
Oh wow.
of me being on that show, even being in a new relationship now. So looking back, I never really like to say I have regrets. I have life lessons,
Right.
but my life lessons would be I would never do a show like that ever again. And once again, nothing against Cynthia because I was there to support her, right? I didn't want to do the show in the beginning, but when you talk about how men are, they're characterized on that show. A lot of men, some of them deserve it, don't get me wrong, but there are a lot of them on there that just like, they don't want the man to win, to be quite honest with you. Name one man that's ever been on a show that's been there for 3 years that won, that had a good reputation coming out.
Listen,
Not one.
not. I mean, I listen. I've obviously because I have a wife, I've watched the show even before you were even on there. So it's like you never see. It never ever works out to where the husband and wife grow together and it's like happy ever after. Which is a kind of a microcosm for life, right? Like people have their own issues, but it's very very rare that you see like anybody rooting for the guys on that show. You know what I mean? For the most part, a lot of times the guys end up being the bad guy, end up being the villain in everybody's story, and it's really unfortunate to see.
And what I always say is like I take responsibility for certain things that I did and not necessarily on the show, because certain things that I revealed on that show, I did it to try and help other people. Like we were just talking about being a good father, right? Or some of the mistakes I made early on in my life, really early, like even like 10 years before I was on the show, 10, 15 years before I was on the show, 20 years before I was on the show, I wrote a book coming on. I'm like, okay, well, this is a platform. Let me share with people what I've done in my past. Same thing that a lot of men in a lot of people's families have done, right? I am not going to hide from that. I'm not going to run from it. I'm going to be very transparent. And nobody came out, and I'm saying this, and this is from the bottom of my heart, nobody ever found out and said, oh, Mike's a cheater, he did this and did all that type of stuff like that. It wasn't revealed. It wasn't like this big shade room exclusive story. It wasn't like one of the housewives came and confronted her and say, I'm doing something on the show. I came out myself. And I had written a book because I had gone through therapy and I was trying to help other young black men not to make the same mistakes that I had made in my past and say, hey, you know what? Doing that is stupid, it's dumb. Don't do it. It doesn't make you a man just because I was raised a certain way or just because, growing up, people always told you the more women you had, the more of a man you are and all that stuff. And I was saying that shit is dumb, man. You don't need to do that. And like I said, I wrote the book. But obviously, all people heard was like he cheated in the past. And so he's going to continue to do it. Once a cheater, always a cheater. Never cheated on Cynthia, never did anything wrong. Then all of a sudden, once again, being on those shows, you start seeing people in the shade room because you got a reputation, because of what you said or whatever. Then they expect you to do things. So now things are blown out of context. People are making up stories, and we know journalism on those blogs isn't journalism. They just believe anything anybody throws out there. Somebody could just DM and say something or whatever just because they want to get some attention, and then all of a sudden that becomes a story. And even if you deny it or even if you find out that it wasn't true, all people heard was the initial headline, right? So you get labeled, and I know. So a lot of people, especially people who consume that show, they want to hear that shit. Excuse my language. They want to hear that, right? So no matter what you've done, they want to hear that. So how it's affected me, I had a pretty damn good reputation in this business beforehand. I still think I still have a good reputation, but I can't say that being on that show did not have an effect on, employment, have an effect on me being elevated and moving up in this business or whatever. Because once I did that show, a lot of people that was messing with me before, they stopped because of the association with that show. I've even heard that. I'm not saying I got blackballed or anything like that because obviously I'm still working and doing certain things. You know, Fox Sports been there for the last 13 years or whatever, and still doing Netflix and all that stuff. But at the same time, there are opportunities that I've even heard about that people have told me behind the scenes that I was up for, but because
Of your
my
experience.
association on that show, then all of a sudden it went away.
You know what's crazy is that I'm finding this, and I completely believe in everybody, holding themselves accountable, right? A lot of times when you hold yourself accountable, it's not forgiven. Like you're still not forgiven.
That's what I'm
You know what I mean? It's a lose a lot of times when you do the work and you like do your self work and do your self up and do a deep dive on yourself. And, and you think that, oh, you know what? I'm fine. I'll be in this great light. And at the end of the day, people don't even know you, will still hold that grudge against you. It's really wild how society works, man. But
it's crazy, man. And you're so true because it's almost like you do the work. People have a past. Everybody, pretty much nobody. There's nobody without sin. Yeah, even Jesus said, like, let he without sin cast the first stone.
No, right.
Tell me something like, so your sin may not be my sin, but you've sinned in the past and you've grown, you've evolved over the years. What if somebody held on to the old version of yourself for the rest of your life? Now I understand like putting it out there and being on that reality show and putting it in the public or whatever. So you're putting yourself, that's why I hold myself accountable even for doing that. Because obviously hindsight being 2020, I would have never revealed my past. I would have written the book. And if you read the book, you'll see how it's trying to help people because it tells all the stupid I've done in the past and how I've overcome it and what I've done through therapy and counseling or whatever. But me putting it out there, all they heard because of that crowd was, oh, he's in. And then we did a scene here where I got a lot of female friends. I got just platonic friends, like my sisters or whatever. I got a lot of male friends. You know me, y'all. You've been to my house. You see,
personable guy. You're just a good dude.
Like, I show love to everybody, man.
Right.
If you got good, if you're a good person, you got good energy, man. I'm gonna show you love.
Right.
So we did a scene here, and this is the first time we're coming out here or whatever. And this is how shit gets produced, man. So obviously, when you go on a show like that, you have to sign off a waiver to be on the show. The women wanted to be on the show.
Right.
All my homeboys, they ain't want no part of it.
parts.
So they ain't signed the waiver. So they ain't want to be a part of the team.
Right.
So it was like 6 or 7 dudes here, that didn't want to be on the show, whatever. And I think 2 of them was in the scene. And all of a sudden you look at the damn scene and it's like 10 women here.
Right. And the optics of it just look a little funny. Yeah.
Look crazy, man. So like, what, I'm not going to tell them not to do the scene now because of that. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, because once again, my love at the time for my soon-to-be wife or whatever, or my, my girlfriend was like, hey, man, I'm here to support you because this is a scene that you need, right? That you want to do.
Right.
And like I said, hindsight being 2020, would I do it again? No. But once again, everything happens for a reason, y'all.
All part of the experience.
It's all part of the experience. And it's made me, I think I think when you go through things like that, it prepares you for things that are coming, right? So I always say my burdens will turn into my blessings because I learned the lessons.
Amen.
Right?
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen, Pastor Mike. Amen.
That's right. They will turn into my blood because I learned the lessons. So I had to go through that, but it made me tougher and it made me have a thicker skin.
Right.
So.
Do you ever go back? Well, I'm sure not now, but in the interim or in the immediate aftermath after the show was aired, do you go back and did you ever go back and watch the episodes? And were you critical of yourself in those episodes? Like, because I know you as a broadcaster, sometimes you'll go back and watch an episode or watch yourself on screen and criticize yourself. Oh, I could have said this word better, or I could have put a little line in here. Were there any of that going on when you watched back the Real Housewives of Atlanta episodes?
You know what? They send a screener like before it comes out, right?
Okay.
So usually before on Sunday, it comes out on Sunday. They usually send a screener on Thursday or Friday.
Okay.
So we'll watch it online. I'll see like the rough cut and all that stuff like that. And a lot of times I just don't want to even be a part of Sunday because I don't want to see things on Twitter and people just saying things and like, bro, it was crazy being on the show, man. Like me loving somebody was like, oh, he's gay. You know what I mean? He's too light. Cynthia like dark skinned dudes. He's light skinned dude. He's too skinny for her. Like the stuff that you have to endure on that show.
I can't fathom that, Mike. I cannot fathom just random. Like, I mean, it was bad enough for me with rap. You know what I mean? Like, just every time I put something out, people would say stuff about the video, or people would say stuff. I like this song, but I don't like that song. And as an artist, that's tough to hear. I can't imagine it being on full throttle for millions of people, though. You know what I mean? Like,
and they're not like, look, here I have a skin because being on ESPN and being in sports, obviously you're gonna get some criticism,
right.
get feedback, right? So people dog you out and said, all kinds of things. I remember Claudia Jordan before I went on that show. She had been on the show. Claudia Jordan is like a sister to me, and she said, "Mike, just be careful when you go on that show. These reality show fans are a different breed, right?" And I'm like, girl, I've done sports. I hear, if I see something about Kobe, I'm gonna get Laker fans killing me and all that type of stuff. I ain't worried about them. Bruh, when I tell you this was a different animal, this was nothing. Like, and, it's a lot of good stuff too, don't get me wrong. Little feet, but once again, the loudest people are the negative people,
right,
or the dark people,
right,
that just want to have attention sometimes.
Right.
These are people who living in their mama basement, who ain't never been out the house. They got 3 or 4 children themselves.
Right.
I'm not even trying to, but they want to tear you down.
Don't have a picture on their emoji. Don't have a picture on their profile.
They got a private Instagram.
Right.
So they want to come. They want to be trolls and they want to be seen. So they want to get your attention or whatever. But at the same time, man, so it's tough, man, hearing it when you know that you're just trying to be a good dude, man, a good person, and grow.
Right.
And these people don't want you to.
Right. Okay. Well, fair. Listen. Well, I'm happy that you've been able to move on into bigger and better things.
Thank you.
We can get into bigger and better things with your new comedy career. You've been doing stand up comedy for the last couple years. I know you've done it with a couple big dogs. I know we discussed you had a relationship with Guy Tori in the past and some other comedians. What has that transition been like for you, particularly being in LA? I know that LA's a huge comedy. What's the word I'm looking for? A comedy.
Some comedy market.
Big comedy market. No question. It's a hub. It's a hub for comedy. Yeah, Laugh Factory is there, and all the comedy clubs are there. What has that been like over the last few years as you've ventured in and also improved your comedy game?
It's been incredible, man. I love it. I mean, I never thought I loved comedy as much as I do, man. I've always been a fan of comedies and comedians, man, being on stage or whatever. D.L. Hughley is my cousin, so I grew up and I met a lot of the kings of comedy.
I forgot. I forgot. You know what I forgot? I just remembered you introduced me to D.L. Hughley in Hartford one night when he was doing the show. I forgot about that. I was obviously, you were working ESPN, you worked late nights. I heard everybody was at Club 960 or whatever it was, and you were like, yo, come on through. And I met D. I was like, y'all a family? I had no idea about that up until then. Yeah,
that's my family, man. So, but yeah, I mean, so I've always just been a big fan of comedians and comedy, man, and all that. And then, I've always, even in my broadcast, man, try and throw a little entertainment, a little jab here and there as much as I can get away with and have some comedy there. But when I got out here, interviewing a lot of people and having my own shows and podcasts, whatever, I've always invited comedians on my show. So they'll do the same thing when they have a show. And then when I come on the show, they be like, man, you kind of funny. You ever thought about doing stand-up? And I ain't never thought about doing stand-up. But this one lady named Hope Flood, who was on a Def Comedy Jam back in the day, a legend out here in L.A., she said, well, I want to help you out. I want you to start doing stand-up comedy, but I want you to host the show first. And if you want to tell some jokes, bring the comments up. Y'all did that, man, and I just fell in love with it. And it became like my therapy. So all the stuff that I'm talking about now, like from the housewives, some divorce, and being in a new relationship, and just my kids, and all the stuff that we talk about, everything you go through. This is my way of having therapy without paying $400 an hour to a therapist.
Right. It can get costly. I mean, listen, whatever insurance you got, it's still therapy is still a lot of money. But man, I'm happy that you're in this space now. Do you have any upcoming shows or anything like that? I know you were on the circuit for a little bit. What's your next stop?
I got a show this Saturday. I got some big shows. I got this Saturday. I got another show next week. I got a show at the Hollywood Laugh Factory, and it's a big show. It's probably one of the biggest shows I've done. It's called Chocolate Sundays. Now, I've done Chocolate Sundays.
I've heard of Chocolate Sundays. There's a girl I follow, Takara Smith, I think her name is. Yeah. She's dope too. I know she's. Whenever I'm on Snapchat, it always pops up. I follow Chocolate Sundays. She always is the first comic that pops up all the time. So that's dope.
Yeah, that's a big night. That's a huge night, man. So I actually did it last year, and they bring you in for like almost like an audition. It's almost like the student section or whatever.
Right.
And you actually got to pass a test in order to move on to the next. So obviously I did 5 minutes there, did well enough, so they brought me back again.
Solid,
man. So Yeah, man. So it's going along. And I've done Byron Allen show. So I did my national television debut
Right.
a couple of months ago, man. So it's been great, man. It's a wonderful ride.
Well, congratulations to you. Much power to you, bro. I mean, I appreciate you. So before we get out of here, I got a quick little rapid fire dope, not dope or not dope. I still haven't figured out a name for the segment. We're gonna do a rapid fire dope is what we're gonna call it. So I'm gonna pick one or two things, and I'm gonna ask you one last question after that. All right. So stand up comedy. Who you going with, Eddie Murphy or Richard Pryor?
Richard's the GOAT.
Okay. That's fair. The 09 Yankees or the 96 Yankees?
Oh, you messing with me? 96 Yankees, baby.
96. That was Jeter. That was Strawberry. That was
that was the core four, baby.
Core four, right. Pettit, Bernie Williams, right. Okay.
96 because they had a dynasty going, brother.
Right. Okay. Just in terms of working, New York or LA?
LA and everything, bro.
So,
I love New York's home. Yeah. There's no energy like New York, but LA.
I feel like your skin is glowing a little different since you've been in LA, man. You love LA.
It's popping, it's happiness and hydration, baby. Boy, I love LA, man.
Right
now, but I love LA.
Indeed. Okay, and one last thing. So, in my lifetime, the Yankees have won 5 championships. In probably your lifetime, probably around 8 to 9, maybe 10. Okay, all right.
Yep.
Okay. How many of those 10 Yankee championships would you give up for one Knick championship?
Oh, half of them.
Half of them? 5 of them?
At least half. Right. So I've been around for 7 of them.
Right.
I wouldn't give up. I couldn't give up the 96. 98, 99. I couldn't give that.
Okay.
Right. So I couldn't give those up.
Okay.
So those are 3 I got to keep. And then I got to keep 2009 only because they're closer. I give up the other 3.
The other 3?
Give me
out of it.
Yeah, because I was young. You know what I mean? I was less
right.
than 10 years old.
Right.
I give them up. But give me one Knicks championship in the next 2 years. I give up 3 of those championships because I was 3 years old last time Knicks won a championship. 155, man.
I mean, bruh, listen. I feel like we're right there. We just got to put it all together, man. We just got to put it all together. Like the roster is talented enough. They just got to be tough-minded enough, and they just got to just finish the deal. Finish the deal.
Bruh, can we talk about tough-minded? Tough-minded, they need dogs,
they need
man.
Dogs.
They need people more like Alvarado. You know what I'm saying? I thought the kid was going to come in and be, but they need some dogs on the wing. I need Mikal Bridges to earn his money, dog.
He's got to. It's funny enough. There was a clip that went viral recently from an interview he had when he was with the Nets. I think he interviewed with Andre Iguodala and Evan Turner, and Iguodala asked Mikal Bridges who's the best player in New York between him, Jalen Brunson, and Julius Randle. And it's ironic now because we haven't seen that Mikal Bridges since then. You know what I mean? It's just like if you just play the same way you play with the Nets and just make your shots and just lock in. He's so talented. I mean, nobody would stop the Knicks if he's the key.
Right.
He's the key.
He ain't got to score 20 every night.
Right.
Give me 17 to 18 points a game, somewhere around there. Be consistent. Play good defense, man. Hit some clutch shots.
Make your open shot. Just make the open ones. Make the open ones.
Bro, you can't score 16 points in the last 3 games.
No. That's actually unacceptable. Like we can't have it.
That's terrible.
But we will see. Hopefully, come May, come June. If we're parading, I'll see you at the parade, and we'll give each other a big man hug. Because I'm.
Oh hell yeah, bro.
You know what I mean?
I'll be fruity then. I don't care. You call me what you want to then, bro. I know who I am.
Right.
Secure my skin.
Right.
I hug you and start crying.
Right.
I don't know if you was at my Super Bowl party when the Giants won, and I finally when he caught that.
David Tyree, bro. I was in Where was I? I was at PCR 9 working ESPN News back in the day. That's how long. That's how.
Nail was at my house. She said, "Is it crying?"
Right.
I'm like, "Yes."
Yo, it was. Bro, I remember there's a guy named Mike Tallarico. I didn't even know him at the time. But when we won, I just ran through the hallways, and he was the first person I saw that was celebrating. We just hugged. We've been friends since that moment. I didn't even know I didn't know him from a can of paint. But I just gave him a hug, like, "Yo, man, we got it done." So hopefully the Knicks will give us some of that type of joy later on this year. But yeah, man, Thanks for having me. Thank you for coming on the show, I should say.
Of course, man.
Let the people know where they can find you, all your ads and all your handles and all that.
Everything on Instagram and on X at its Mike Hill.
Okay.
At it's Mike Hill, man, and continue to follow me, man. Continue to support me. I appreciate your love, man. I appreciate you, man. Keep doing your music.
Of course.
Once again, yeah, you are the most talented dude. I'd say top 5, one of the most talented dudes I've ever worked with in my life, and like behind the scenes and just doing things, but like your rap career, man, like you are so smooth with it. I just know it's gonna blow for you. I swear to God, I know that, man.
I appreciate that, man. You know what I mean? We're still working. We got more music to put out. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep doing what I gotta do, and you know, hopefully, like you said, blessed and highly favored. Hopefully we are showing some favor in some capacity, and then we'll move forward. But yeah, I appreciate you, man. Good looking out, man. I want to thank y'all for joining us. You know what I mean? More dope content to come. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button so we can get this dope content out to more dope people like yourself. Y'all be safe. See you in the next one. Peace.
Absolutely.